Today's going to be another one of these videos relating to the getyourselftodothings.com stuff, which once again, if you're a game developer, absolutely relates to you and the challenges you're encountering as well. And today's got to do with a section of the book I'm working on, which the book's only part of it, but it's got to do with picking something that's your target to get yourself to do that's really 100% in your direct control. It's something which there's as minimal as possible outside factors, assumptions about what the outside world will or won't do, reliance on what other people will or won't do. It's figuring out, okay, what's the part you're in control of? So an example of this, right, is that I live in Los Angeles, right? So as a field, which is not game development, but entertainment related, there's lots of people who, they'll tell you they're a writer. They'll identify as something, but they're only measuring their success by outside factors, whether or not their work has sold, whether or not their work has gotten picked up, whether or not their work is on something you've heard of. And that can be a really, really brutal kind of stepping ladder because there's such a wide gap of if it's beyond their control, whether or not people are responding to it, reacting to it, whether they get the calls that they're hoping, and so on. Now, what is in their control, right, is making sure they're producing a certain amount of output, making sure they're doing a certain amount of time each week towards honing their craft, spending it, whether it's in classes and workshops, whether it's further refining their material. They're in control of whether or not they're putting the material in front of others for feedback. They're in control of whether or not they are, doing these things, right? So likewise, if we're someone's a small business situation, and they might have certain objectives. And part of what the getyourselftodothings.com stuff is going to be about is how we can draw these connections and steps between what's immediately in our control and then maybe things that are layers away, things that do require some risk, some outside input, some elements beyond our immediate control, or just longer term than a simple goal. But it's things that, we're not in control of whether or not a customer buys something. We are in control of how many customers we're contacting, right? Or if it's a cold call kind of situation, again, we're not in control of how many people say yes. We are in control of how many attempts we make, of how many we put out there. This is something that when people are new game programmers, to pull it back to something where most of my training energy is gone, it's something where at first people try to skip too many steps and be worried about they want to make a game played by X number of people. They want to make a game that earns back X amount of money or whatever. And there's too many reliances, too many steps on the outside that are beyond their control. And what happens is it's this broken feedback of they'll make something and feel sad because it didn't reach those people. They'll make something, feel sad because it didn't make back that money. And it's penalizing in a way that when you're starting out, it's really got to be about, are you doing it at all? Do you have something to show for the time and energy you've put into it? Because if you don't do this, then what you wind up happening is, again, years pass, they got nothing to, they can't show you, here's the games that I made. Here's the projects I put behind me. That relies upon going through some games where you're not expecting a big audience yet. You're not expecting a lot of return yet. You really are just doing it at first to do it. There's this kind of crazy loop where, I don't mean to use the word crazy lightly. There's this loop that I think is naive and unfortunate. Probably a better way to phrase that. Where it'd be like thinking that the first time I'm going to practice playing basketball is if someone will pay me to do it. The first time I'm going to practice playing an instrument is someone will pay me to do it. And in these fields that are highly competitive, have a massively creative element to it, have overlap of business complexities and high technical skill, whether that skill is basketball, music, game development, or otherwise, then it's the sort of thing where you got to be putting a lot of practice, again, first on what's directly in your control. What can you get yourself to do? And at the start, that's X number of hours. And as you advance in it, that can be estimates towards what we do in our club, right? Gamketo Club. The project leads always identify, for each week, here's the tasks, the features that are going to be working by the end of that week. And they can scale, they can stretch what that task means. They can magnify it, they can build on top of it, they can do more than that. But it means at minimum, that's what they're going to have to show a week later. And that there are always things directly in their control. It's not about what the outside world, how they respond to it. It's not about what others do or don't do. It's things that they know that if they have to, if no one else in the team gets involved, no one else collaborates, gets in, fills in that gap, that is the lead, they can do that. And that's how we keep ourselves in control of the situation. That it's something we have direct control over doing. If it was exercise, again, it's kind of a more universal example. Are you going to win a race or not? Not in your control. Can you consistently get yourself to run a certain number of laps a certain amount of time? Something which, if you set as a goal, now there's no one but you blocking that. There's nothing outside to blame it on. There's nothing outside to take credit for if you're doing it. It's you against yourself, and then figuring out how do I get myself to do that. Which again is kind of this problem I'm clearly kind of obsessing over lately, finding ways to attack. So once again, if you're interested in kind of where this stuff is going, how it fits together, how we kind of build a bigger set of both strategies, tactics, techniques around this stuff, where it leads, how it helps us do things, check out the getyourselftodothings.com. They're not always going to be about this every day, but this is where my headspace is. Also, as mentioned, Thanksgiving's around the corner. I'm going to be probably recording some short videos to fill in while I'm away. But we got some other things as well. It's not all about this all the time, but thanks for coming along as always. Having a video for y'all tomorrow. Bye for now.